Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Sorry, I had some technical issues before. But here we go. We're here at Zandvoort for the practice for the Dutch Grand Prix on Saturday. So a few drivers heading out on track now. It's a wet start to the practice session. But this is crucial practice for the drivers. We're yet to have a wet race this season, so we're starting this off We've got a wet start to this practice session, so the drivers can get used to the wet conditions. I don't think many of them will have driven in wet conditions so far this season, but we've got it here for the start of the practice session. We've got a few cars out on track now. Few little changes that we've had from last week. So the main change that we have this week is the fact we have a League 2 starting up, which is absolutely fantastic. Keep an eye on all our socials on Facebook especially, and there will be, and that was Melina Coach just spinning on the banking there. But yes, as I said, keep an eye on the socials. The link for the second division Twitch stream will be posted on there, along with the link for the main division on Sunday. A few other changes to that. Kai Wildy we saw win in China Bahrain a few weeks ago. He had a difficult race in China, but he is going to be in the League 2 race, so he's going to be in that division. And there is Melina Coach off again in these wet conditions, really struggling. But very quickly, the last point on the drivers as well. We do have a couple of new drivers in here tonight who are also going to be taking part in the League 2. So we've got Adam Woods in there and Andrew Watson as well. They are going to be in the League 2. But they're here in the practice session tonight. We've got 12 drivers in the session, 90-minute practice session. I will be keeping an eye on the Twitch chat, so if anyone is looking on the Twitch and they want to leave any questions about the league, any comments at all, maybe if anyone's old enough on the stream and remembers the last time F1 raced in the Dutch Grand Prix back in 1980, leave your comments in the chat. This track returning to the calendar after 40 years, mainly thanks to the rise of Max Verstappen, the main Dutch driver now in Formula 1. We saw his father, Jos Verstappen, race early on this season. Mark Stewart, what's the odds on Adam Woods getting into League 1? Well, as long as we don't have any other drivers drop out, what we are going to do is we're going to run the two leagues together at the same time. We haven't had a League 2 so far this season, but it will be starting this week, as I said, but it will be at this racetrack as well. It will follow exactly the same calendar until the end of the season. The top 5 in that championship in League 2 will go up at the end of the season into League 1. The bottom 5 in the championship in League 1 will drop into League 2. So that's the way it's going to work out. That's dependent, of course, in no more League 1 drivers dropping out of the league, because then we will promote one of the League 2 drivers back up. But again, with that, we will look at the driver who is furthest up in the championship and promote that driver. So, as you can see there, a few lap times coming on the board now in these very tricky conditions here. Drabi is fastest at the moment. Kyle Mabon, winner last time out in China, is second. Melina Coach goes up to third. We've seen him struggling for a little while out there on those intermediates, but he's won third. Here is Andrew Watson driving the Ferrari this evening. He is in 4th position on a 122.2. White African 5th, and Steve Harris in 6th. White African, great race last time out in China, finishing on the podium after qualifying outside the top 10. Absolutely brilliant race for him. Kai says on the Twitter chat, time to get your wellies on. It is at the moment. It's a very wet out there right now, but it is, I think, going to dry up later on in the session. And it is an challenge for all these drivers as well, because being an old school racetrack, it has been redeveloped, of course, to get the conditions right for Formula One and get the track up to standards. But being an old school racetrack, it's still very narrow, and there are no real tarmac runoff areas anyway. There are some wide pieces of racetrack, but at the edge of the racetrack is grass and gravel traps, and that's good for me. I think that's a good thing to see. Puts the drivers under a little bit more pressure. Simple mistake, they could end up in the wall or buried deep in the gravel trap. And according to Kai Wildy, thank you Kai, it is going to be rain all the way through. So as I said, we haven't had a wet race so far this season, so it's great practice for some of these drivers to get that rain throughout this session and see how the cars are, see how the handling is. We'll try and talk to some of the drivers as well at some point this evening, so that we can see this racetrack. Ross has just gone up into 6th position. Let's run on board lap here. This is Kyle Mabon in the Renault, last race winner. This is turn 1, the Tarzan hairpin. In these positions, just under 60 miles an hour. And then there's a little left-hand flick of 2, then into 3, flick down a couple of gears, and then there's very banked hairpin here of turn 4. On to what is in the dry, quite an easy flat-out section, but in the rain they're going to be tiptoeing through. Just about full throttle there through this quick chicane and into this double right-hander. Or long right-hander. Slight left flick, and then onto these tricky down to corners here, down to 4th gear for that one. And these are the 2 slowest corners on the track. 65 miles an hour for that first hairpin. Bring it over to the right-hand side for the second hairpin. Again, about 65 miles an hour. Second DRS zone, if it was dry, that's where the DRS would be. Heading down the back straight towards the chicane. Flick down into 2nd gear at 60 miles an hour, and then you've got this very slow hairpin. This is the slowest corner on the track. 45 miles an hour only in these wet conditions. Over to the left-hand side, down to 4th gear, 90 miles an hour for that right-hander. And then this one in the dry is flat out, but we've already seen Melina Coach struggling to take it flat out in the damp. Kyle Mabon just about managed to do it. And he goes comfortably quickest to 1:19.4. So very good effort from him indeed. So order at the moment, Kyle Mabon is quickest, Drabby is second, Adam Woods first session and looking good there. As I was going to say he's third, but now Lewis has gone third. Ross is 5th in the second Renault. Melina Coach is 6th, just ahead of White African. Andrew Watson is 8th in the second Ferrari. 23rd Nebula is 9th. We saw him have a very good race as well in China, recovering from 17th on the grid, and he came home to finish in 7th place. Steve Harris is currently in 10th position. But Steve, what we have noticed from him in the last couple of practice sessions, he does tend to do a very, very long stint out there. So he'll be out there. Let's see if we can find him. There he is. He'll be out there testing those intermediate tyres. But he has, that last lap was a lot quicker. He's gone into the 124s. But he's probably got a lot of fuel on board. Kai Wildy is also there as well. And White African's tyre. And that was Kai Wildy spinning out the last corner. Oh, and there's contact. There is contact. Kai spun. And 23rd Nebula has collected him. Luckily, the damage is off, so they'll both be able to get going again. But, well, Kai spun. Goes to show just how treacherous that banking is. And they're both very lucky indeed there that the damage is off. I think they'd both have been out of the session. So as I said, I will try and talk to some of the drivers as we're going along. We're looking at Steve Harris at the moment. He's on a 124.7. But as I said, the last few practice sessions, he has gone long and just tested out the tyre life of the car. And even though it is wet, that is a good thing to see around here. It's a 50% race here on Saturday, but it's still 36 laps. So it'll be good to see just how long these intermediates can last. So not a lot happening out there at the moment. The leader coach is on a lap at the moment. Let's find him. There he is in 6th position. He's just coming through the last couple of corners. And he has also got a full-time seat now in that AlphaTauri. Had a great race for Williams, if you remember, in China. And now he has that full-time seat at AlphaTauri, which I know he's very, very pleased about. Drabby's gone back out as well. He's on intermediates, of course. He's on a 120.5. And he does a 120.4 this time, so he does find a little bit of extra pace. So after the race the last time out, where Kyle won the race, he leads the World Championship by 6 points. From Lewis, who has had 3 very consistent races. He, as well as Kyle, he won in Australia, of course, Lewis. He finished 5th in Bahrain and he was 4th last time out in China. Kyle finished 5th in Australia. Then he finished 2nd in Bahrain, and then he, of course, he won last time out in China. Drabby is 3rd, finished 2nd in China. He's 3rd in the World Championship, just 3 points further back. So there is just 9 points covering the top 3 in the World Championship at the moment. Then behind that, we've got another 3 drivers very close together. Real Joker in the Red Bull. JTM, who missed last time. The former championship leader, didn't race in China, but he is 5th in the championship, just ahead of White African, and they are separated by just 4 points. As in comes Drabby. So let's go and find someone else. Adam Woods out there on the track as well. And then just go down a little bit further in the championship. Ross is next. He's on 33 points. Just ahead of Steve Harris, retired in Bahrain, if you remember, but he did score last time in China. 31 points. He has got 26 points for Spiky. In the AlphaTauri. 23rd Nebula, after his great comeback drive through the field in China, is up to 24 points. Then we have Aaron Ma, who is still a reserve driver. He's on 21 points. Then Melina Coach on 19. 17 for Vital Oxygen. Had their first finish in China, finishing in 5th position. So great race with him. JPL Bailey is next on 16 points, the same as Subs UK. Then Aqua Ninja's on 15. Miss Bowman also on 15. But Miss Bowman's no longer in the lead, unfortunately. Miss Upson is next on, also on 15 points. Maglox is on 12. Jack Thompson is on 8 points. No one else yet has scored points this season. So that's your Drivers' Championship. So keep an eye out for the relative pace of Kyle, Lewis and Drabby. They are the 3 at the moment at the top of the timing sheet. So they do seem to have a bit of... Ooh, that was Adam Woods nearly losing it in the last corner, but just about collecting it. He is currently 5th and a little bit wide there in turn 1 as well. So, right, meanwhile, in the Constructors' Championship, after the first 3 races, Renault moved into the lead of the championship with 100 points. Mercedes, after a difficult race last time out, they are just 2 points back on 98 points. Then a bit of a gap. Third is Racing Point there on 78. Alfa Romeo have been consistently scoring good points. They are 4th in the Constructors right now on 61. Then you got Williams in 5th. Not too far back on 56 points. And in 6th position is Alpha Tauri on 52. Then another 7 points back are Red Bull. Didn't score in Australia, so they're making a good comeback so far. They're on 45 points, sitting in 7th in the Constructors. 8th for Ferrari on 37. 9th for McLaren on 35. And 10th, a little bit of drift, but plenty of time to make it up. Haas on 23 points. So that is your relative championships so far this season. And we're really seeing some of the drivers struggling out there with these conditions. As I said, the Twitch chat is open. I am keeping an eye on it. So any questions, comments, please put them in there. I will get to as many as I can throughout the session. 2 drivers still yet to set a lap time. Kai Wildy and Subs UK. Subs is out on the racetrack at the moment. Let's see if we can find him in the McLaren. There he is. Steve at the moment is the slowest of the drivers who have set a lap time, a 1:23.6, but he is, as per normal, going for a long run on these tyres. Of course, with a 90-minute practice session, he's got plenty of time to do that, to just fill the car with fuel and see how long it can go. And that's what he's doing at the moment. Ross seems to be doing something similar, although he's just dived into the pits. Adam Woods has been out for 5 laps on these tyres as well. So a lot of drivers seem to be going for long runs. Yes, anyone, we've had a couple of instances of it so far. Anyone in the Twitch chat, don't make your comment all capitals because Twitch will delete it. So please don't do that. As Lewis heads back out on track again. 2nd in the World Championship, 3rd at the moment in practice. He is going out. Can he get himself closer? Well, he's less than a 10th behind Drabby, but at the moment Carl Maybon's over a second quicker than the rest of the field at the moment, really showing some good wet weather skills here this evening already. So let's see if we can get our first driver interview of the evening. Let's see if Ross will come and join us. And we'll talk about how he feels his season's going so far. And we have been joined by Ross. Ross, if you just make sure your audio is included, please, mate. Just so everyone can hear you on the stream. Are you there, Ross? Hello. So, difficult race for you last time in China, but it still brought home some points. How are you looking forward to this weekend around this racetrack? Do you like this track? Okay. And how is the, we've seen you out on track already. How are the conditions out there? I mean, it's raining, not too hard. How slippery is the racetrack? No, definitely not. And because I was saying it's quite a challenging track in these sorts of conditions with the gravel and grass just waiting to suck you in, isn't it? Okay, well, good luck for the rest of practice, Ross. I will let you head back, but thanks for talking to us. No problem, mate. So we've got 67.5 minutes roughly to go of the session. Lewis has just gone, you may have seen it during that interview with Ross. Lewis has gone up to second position. It's on a 120.2, but Kyle Mabon has improved a lot more. Oh, sliding around that corner, but he's gone to a 118.9. So as Ross said, the track is getting a little bit drier out there. I know Kai said it's going to be raining all the way through, but you can see the racing line. And as Ross said, as more and more drivers go round and keep going round, it does throw the water off the racing line and give you a lot more grip later on in the session. And we've seen that from Kyle and Lewis, both jumping up the order. Steve Harris still going out there. He's done 14 laps on these intermediate tyres so far. Oh, just off the track there a little bit, but he'll get away with it. You won't want to be doing that too many times. It'll be very easy to throw that into the wall from there. But 123.6 from him, a little way off the pace. Subs UK's done a slow lap as well. I don't know whether he made a mistake somewhere. And it's very much an unknown, this, because it's an unknown racetrack. New for this season, of course. I know we didn't actually get to race here, but we should be there this season. So it's a new track for a lot of the drivers, but then also it's new conditions, so it's very much trying to find the limit of the car, how hard you can push, and some very quick change of direction corners in the middle of the track as well. So you've got to have your car just set up. And of course the other unknown on this racetrack is with those two corners with a lot of banking, how are the tyres going to react to that? Is there going to be more grip around the outside of the banking with the water all running to the inside of the track, or what are the conditions going to be like? So a lot of unknowns for the drivers here. 23rd Nebula heading back out on racetrack. We saw him have that contact with Kai Wildey earlier on after Kai spun. Kai hasn't gone back out on track as of yet. As I know, there is Melina Coach in the AlphaTauri. 7th at the moment. And also doing a fairly long run. Lewis has improved again. A 120.0. So he's finding some grip out there. No one else has got under 119 yet apart from Kyle. Oh, and there's an AlphaTauri off. Let's have a look. His Melina Coach has gone off. And that's around the very fast corners. That's what I was talking about. Those very high speed change of direction corners around the back of the circuit. And in these conditions, it's very, very tricky. Just go slightly offline or have a bit too much oversteer on your setup, and around you will go in these conditions. Apparently we couldn't hear Ross, so apologies for that. So Kyle goes quickest again. As you can see on that, no, sorry, that's a delayed message. 23rd Nebula showing there is some more pace out there now. Has gone up into third place, a 120.4. And I know he was very pleased after the race in China with his comeback drive. The safety car helped him a lot, but there was a lot of first lap incidents. If you want to see that race, again, have a look at our Facebook page, Ultimate Racing League. Also have a look for Ultimate Racing League on YouTube. And you will see the Chinese Grand Prix from there. But Simon was qualified quite low down anyway. Got caught out in qualifying. It was a wet start to qualifying in China, and then it dried out right at the end of the session, and Simon just got caught out with getting a lap time in on the slicks at the end. So qualified 17th on the grid, got caught up in the first lap incident, was still running 17th and a long way back early in the race, but a late safety car. We had no safety cars for the first half of the race in China, then we had two in quick succession, but it enabled him to catch up, and then on much quicker tyres, especially after the second safety car, he drove brilliantly through the field, and he's entering the pit. So a lot of drivers tend to just go for quite short runs here. Steve has done 17 laps so far in that Alfa Romeo. He's sitting in 11th position. Adam Woods back out on track, so is Kai Wildy. Let's see how Drab is doing on his first flying lap. Let's have a look. His first set, it's a long first sector here, considering it's such a short lap. And he's a 10th down on his best. Let's see how Kai's doing. Of course, he had that spin earlier on, so that will have just dented his confidence a little bit, but he's and it would have also ruined his first set of tyres. But he's a quarter of a second up on his best so far. That would leap him in front of Andrew Watson and White African, who's no longer in the session. So he clearly feels he's done enough practice for this evening, as he's retired from the session. Here comes Kai Wildy. Can he move himself up the order? He goes up to 7th, found 6.5 tenths in the end, up into, down to a 121.4. Let's see how Adam Woods is doing. 5th at the moment, not a bad start. First practice session with the league. And looking very composed. Let's ride on board with the Ferrari and see how the car's handling. Subs UK has gone back out on track as well in the McLaren. 4 cars sitting in the pit lane, as Molina Coach jumps up to 7th. So he's beaten his teammate. And Adam Woods, quarter of a second up. He's a fraction slower than 23rd Nebula at the moment, but this could put him right up there. If he can continue to improve in this middle sector, he could be right up there with Lewis, knocking on the door of the 1:19 mark. Let's have a look. Yes, he's a third of a second up in the first, in the middle sector. So sorry, no, he's on a 1:20.8 so far. Sorry, I misread the lap time. And let's have a look. You can really see fighting for grip, but avoiding the curbs and the white lines is what you need to do in these conditions. And not quite, I would say, full power through that last corner. But he does a 1:20.4, and he joins the party of 23rd Nebula and Drabby in there on the 1:20.4s. Drabby does a 1:21, so maybe he's on a slightly longer run. Molina Coach out there. Let's see how Steve's doing. This will be vital information for everyone. This is his 20th lap on this set of tyres. And just really seeing how they are going to behave. Subs UK, let's have a look. He's nearly half a second up in the first sector, or in the middle sector, sorry, on his previous best. And again, a little bit of curb on the exit, but giving the white lines and the curves a lot of respect as he goes across the line, and he does a 1:24.6. He's found a second, so good effort there from Subs. Is there anyone else we can ride on board with? Lewis, he's on an out lap. second at the moment. Can he be only the second man today to get under the 1 minute 20 barrier? Let's see how the car's handling. A nice early turn in there. Mixed views on the best line through that corner. Some drivers liking to come out wide and take a late apex. Other drivers like to get the nose in early. Oh, and Lewis on the curb on the exit, and the rear tyres being a little bit wider. They just touched that white curb first. End up just spitting the back of the car around. Here comes Adam Woods, and he's heading to the pits, so maybe a low fuel run for him, a qualifying style run. Let's see how Drabby's doing. He's doing a bit of a longer run now on those tyres. And I know a lot of the drivers we've got in this league out there this evening, a lot of them are quite new to league racing. So I'm not sure how much practice they would have in the wet conditions. So it could be quite a learning curve for a lot of them. Let's see how Drab's doing in the middle sector. He's a fraction up on his best, but that would, at the moment, just about get him ahead of 23rd Nebula, sat there in 3rd place. So while we're watching that, let's see if we can get 23rd Nebula in for a quick chat. Ooh, and Drabby nearly loses it on the banking there in the last corner. But he doesn't want, he didn't quite improve. That little slide did cost him time. Here is Andrew Watson. We haven't really seen him so far, so it'll be an opportunity to see how he's getting on. But he has had this lap disallowed. But he's sat in 9th position at the moment. I think he'll be fairly happy with that one, 21.9. But again, with the exception of Kyle, who's quite a long way out front, the rest of the field from 2nd to 9th place are covered by less than 2 seconds. It really is showing some great racing here and some great lap times being posted. So Lewis is on his 2nd lap on these tyres. He's a quarter of a second down on his best, but of course he might be doing a long fuel run. We don't know at the moment what he's on, as he now comes around the last corner. And the yellow flag. I think that's a Mercedes gone off. I think Drab's out of fuel. I think Drab was trying to do a qualifying run. But yes, Drab out of fuel, so he'll be heading back to the pits. Andrew Watson also came in. Both Alpha Tauris have gone out on track. Very close between them, less than half a tenth. As I said, Kyle will be in League 2. Oh, and again, struggling in that last corner. It really is catching a lot of the drivers out there tonight, that last corner with the banking in these wet conditions. So that doesn't give Kai the best start to his lap, so I don't see it being his quickest so far. So I did invite 23rd Nebula, but he's not come in. Let's see if Kyle will come in and have a chat. Race winner last time out in China. Kyle, if you just make sure your audio is included, please, so that everyone can hear you. Yeah, thank you. We spoke to you after the race in China. You were pretty buzzing. Are you still pretty high after your race result? And how do you like this racetrack? I mean, do you like this track, or is it one you're struggling with? Well, he's only looking pretty quick out there. You're over a second quicker than the rest of the field. Were you pushing to the absolute limit, or do you reckon you can find a little bit more? So a little bit more to come. And you're top of the World Championship now after your race win as well. Who do you see as your main rival for that? You've got a few drivers in there. You've got Lewis being consistent. You've got Drabby showing some good space as well. Do you think it'll be those two, or do you think it could be someone else still coming up? He certainly was. And just last thing, for the viewers, for people that don't drive, well, what is your mindset going into this practice? Are you going purely for qualifying pace, or are you going to try a race setup, or... Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for joining us, and I'll let you head off. But I hope you have a good rest of the session. Speak to you later on. So, we've seen Kyle head back in. He didn't improve. Let's see. Molina Coach has had his lap disallowed. Not many cars out on track. Andrew Watson has just headed back out again in the Ferrari. So he's currently sitting in 9th position. Steve, as Kyle was saying, Steve doing a very long run at the moment. 24 laps. This is his 25th lap on this set of tyres at the moment. So good information for him, but you've got to say as well, good information for the rest of the field as well. If Steve's doing still some competitive lap times compared to his best, and he's not that far off, about a second, that'll be very valuable information for everyone else watching, as well as himself, of course, come race day on Saturday, if it is a wet race. So we haven't had a rain-affected race yet this season. A little bit of rain at the beginning qualifying in China, but that was all we had. And apparently there is some audio issues as well. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do any more interviews, unfortunately. It's a shame, because I'm sure you guys like hearing from the drivers, but there does seem to be a problem with Twitch this evening. Good old technology. So I do apologise about that. But as I said before, feel free to put any questions or comments in the Twitch chat. And I will get to all of them, I would have thought, throughout the session. Drab and Ross going back out on track as well. So let's see how Steve is doing. Let's see how Andrew Watson is doing, actually, in the Ferrari. He's done a slow first lap. So I don't know if he's made a mistake somewhere or gone off. But here he goes across the line area. He's only did a 135, so he must have made a mistake somewhere. And as I said, for those of you who missed it earlier on, this Saturday, we have got our second league starting up. So League 2 starts this Saturday. Also at this racetrack as well. It will run concurrently with this one, so it will start here and finish in Abu Dhabi at the end of June. That seems forever away, doesn't it, the end of June, but that's when the season's running to. And Andrew Watson and Adam Woods. They're brand new drivers, and they will be racing in League 2. Kai Wilde, we saw win in Bahrain. He is also going to be in League 2 as well from this weekend. Everyone else that is in the session is in League 1. And we're seeing some very, very different strategies from everyone. We heard from Kyle saying he's not really interested in doing the long runs. He's just going to go out there, put some quali runs in and hopes he gets enough feel from the setup to hope that it's good enough in race conditions. He has had to go out on a slightly worn set of inters as Drabik moves up to third place, so on 20.1. Oh, and Kyle's lost it. Kyle lost it riding on board. Just a bit too much throttle coming out of that fast right-hander. And the result is that he speared into the wall again. Very lucky for him that damage was off, because that would have been the end of his session. Now, only Kyle at the moment is dipped under the 1 minute 20 mark. He's on a 118.9. Lewis has done a 120.0, and he is slightly up. You can see there a tenth and a half up on his best. So can he finally be the second person? No, he's diving into the pit lane. And he's a challenging pit lane here as well. You just saw it there. The wall very much comes to meet you there. It's a flat out entry into the pit lane, but the wall is there ready to catch you out. So keep an eye out on that throughout the race and qualifying. Drabby out on track, as I said. Also, Ross is doing quite a long run as well on his intermediate tyres. This is his 11th lap on this set of tyres. Steve still going, and he's actually on a slightly better lap now as well. This is his 29th lap on this set of tyres. 45 minutes into the session. Almost now, nearly halfway through, and Steve has been out from the very start of the session on the same set of tyres, and he's now half a second up, so he's still showing that those intermediates have got some pace. I mean, we did hear from Ross earlier on that the conditions are improving now that there's a racing line down, and maybe the worn rubber on that car at the moment on those intermediates that Steve's on always had the lap disallowed. That's a shame, because he was going to go a lot quicker there. That would have moved him, it would have kept him in 11th position, but just goes to show there is still some very good pace to be had out there at the moment. And the thing is with these intermediates and the wet tyres, very often we quite often see people in qualifying especially go out for 3 or 4 laps on the intermediate tyres and the wets if they're needed. Oh, we have I think that's Steve off. Yeah, Steve spun at the hairpin out the back of the circuit. But yes, as I was saying, very often these tyres get better after a couple of laps. We've seen in the last couple of years that shiny new surface on a brand new set of tyres. But sometimes in these conditions you don't want that. You want the grip from the tyre. So quite often you will see drivers being quicker after 2 or 3 laps once the temperature starts to build. Only 2 cars now out on racetrack. Steve Harris and Lewis has just gone out on an out lap, just about to start his lap. Let's see how that Racing Point is handling. Brand new set of intermediates. Worn set of intermediates for him. He's done 3 laps on these already, and having to be so patient on the throttle there out of turn 1. They're struggling to get the nose in again. Patient on the throttle. It's as Martin Brundle would say, just going to squeeze the throttle as if there's an egg underneath the pedal you don't want to brake. Because you've seen from Carl already that this corner, a bit too much throttle and you will be spinning round. And of course, if it's like this in the rain, damage is on full in the race. If you get that, it could be your race all over. Kyle Maybon's now heading out on a brand new set of intermediates. Ross has gone out as well, also on a brand new set of intermediates. Andrew Watson's gone out He's on a slightly worn set of Inters. Steve Harris still out there now on his 31st lap on the same set of tyres. Lewis is slightly quicker by a few thousandths in the middle section of his best. Can he finally dip that car under 1 minute 20? Only Kyle's managed it so far, and he does indeed. Just a 1:19.9 from him. A few other cars now heading out. Adam Woods has gone back out again as well. Here is Ross in the Renault. We did try and talk to him earlier. Good evening, Zoltar. Great to have you watching the stream, mate. I hope you're enjoying it. And please, to everyone watching at the moment, tune in on Saturday. The stream will be going from about 7:50 p.m. UK time. We'll try and do a couple of pre-race interviews. And then qualifying will start at 8 o'clock sharp. So, and as I said earlier on, if you haven't already, have a look at the Facebook page, Ultimate Racing League, and also look out for Ultimate Racing League on YouTube. And you'll be able to see the previous races. There have been 3 cracking races so far this season and some brilliant driving. Mark Stewart, I'm having a blast. Yep. Great to have you watching, mate. Zoltar is here, it seems, to support Melina Coach. So Melina Coach's got a bit of a fan club going on there. Let's see how Ross is doing as he comes through the second to last corner. His best at the moment is a 1:21.0. Can he get himself up? It's quite close in that battle between second and fifth, just half a second in it. Can he get himself up into that battle? Yes, he can. A 1:20.6 as he remains in 6th position, but has improved. Adam Woods decided to pit. Kyle Mabon didn't improve on his previous lap time. He remains quickest though. Still over a second quicker than the rest of the field. Let's have a look. Here is Melina Coach. I know he's got his supporters out there already. Oh, he had the lap disallowed just as I went on board. But is he doing a slightly longer run as well on these tyres? Because this is entering the 5th lap on them so far. Steve Harris finally pitted. Did such a long run on those intermediates. He's 11th quickest at the moment out of the 12 drivers who've had a lap time so far. 23rd Nebula on a lap as well. Let's see how he's going to get on in the middle sector. 4th fastest at the moment, and I think he'll be very happy with that. Definitely improving as the season goes on. We're only on race 4, but he's really improving. Here is 23rd Nebula, and he's only a fraction down on his previous best. Adam Woods back out on track again. Steve Harris has gone out on track as well. Maybe doing a qualifying run now after seeing how well those tyres lasted. Here comes 23rd Nebula, and he's straight back in the pits, not completing his lap. So just strikes me as a little bit of sandbagging going on out there. A lot of drivers not completing the laps, even if they have been almost at the same sort of time as their best. Maybe they are on qualifying run, maybe they don't want to show their true pace and keep it a secret till qualifying. Lewis is back out again on a slightly worn set of Inters. Drabby's just fitted a set of softs. Now that's interesting because it is still raining out there. Surely he's not going to have any grip, and so is Kyle Mabon as well. They're trying slick tyres. In fact, a few people going on to slicks now. In fact, Drabby and 23rd Nebula going on to hard tyres now. So here is Steve Harris starting his second run, set of intermediates. No one who has fitted slicks has yet gone out on racetrack. Will be very, very interesting to see how much grip they have. Lewis has gone back out on another set of Inters. And let's see how Steve is doing through this long right-hander. It's so almost scary in these conditions. He's nearly a second up on his best. He's on a 1:22.8, but of course we know he had a lot of fuel on board. So Steve will be looking to certainly try and get himself up there toward the top 3 or 4, you would think. Let's see how he's doing in the middle sector. He is a second up. At the moment, that would lift him into 10th place. He might just be pushing Andrew Watson a little bit now. Ross has put on a set of slicks now as well, and there are cars heading out, and Ross is out on a set of slick tyres. So is 23rd Nebula. They're both on softs, as is Kyle Mabon, but Drabby's gone out on a set of hard tyres. Let's see how much grip they've got. Steve moves up to 9th on a 1:21.799. Let's see how much grip they've got. This is Ross. The thing is with this, it will just be about trying to keep temperature in the tyres. As soon as you lose temperature, that is when you will start sliding, and it's a vicious circle, because if you can't push because you've lost temperature, you lose more temperature, and then you lose even more grip. It's a vicious circle in these conditions. And well, it looks okay at the moment. Let's see how the hard tyres are getting on Drabby. MX Ende, Widsey. MX Ende, go Widsey. Let's have a look how they are really struggling on those. And yeah, look, Ross is off. Let's see how Kyle's getting on. Here he goes. He starts his lap very wide in turn 1. There, he's got no grip under acceleration at all. So they've dropped out of their temperature window now, so they are going to struggle. Look at Drabby really fighting the car. 23rd Nebula, it looks as if he's kept a little bit more heat than the other two in his tyres. He's certainly not sliding around. Molina Coach, you definitely have your fan club in there tonight. You're doing fine. Your mate's waiting for you to play something else with him. So we've got 36 minutes of the session to go. And let's see what 23rd Nebula's first sector time is. It's going to be a long way down, yeah, nearly 5 seconds down. And Steve Harris still has a little bit of fuel in the car. Because he's out there for a... This is his 3rd lap, so maybe not a full qualifying run. Molina Coach still out there on his intermediate tyres as well. Andrew Watson heading out as well. Oh, and that's Andrew Watson. I was just saying about him. Slid on that bank. Where so many people are being called out here already tonight. And that's 23rd Nebula off. I was just saying he looked like he had the most grip out of all those on slicks. Oh, that's come to an end. Drabby is really struggling. And he's that, yeah, him and Kyle Mabon. A little bit of contact through turn 1. They are all over the place on these slick tyres. And Drabby as well on the hard tyres. I'm amazed he can keep it on the road. And look at this, a little bit of racing going on here. But it is going to be a difficult track to overtake on. That was a comment. I know you couldn't hear him on the stream, but one thing Ross was saying that it is a difficult race track to overtake on. And in the wet, I think that is going to be a lot harder still if it is a wet race on Saturday. Lewis gone back out on intermediates. 23rd Nebula's given up on the slicks. He's back in. Ross is going back out. He's only done 1 lap on the current set of tyres. Look at these two. They're giving us a race in the middle of practice here. We've got 34 minutes of the session to go. And you've got to say, very impressive by Drabby here on those hard tyres. Really fighting, but keeping it all. And those two are off, and they're having to let the Racing Point through. That is Lewis. And there's a Ferrari in there as well. That is Adam Woods, I believe, just gone through. No, it wasn't. It was Andrew Watson. So intermediates are clearly the way to go here tonight. So Ross comes through this tricky middle part of the lap into the second hairpin. He exit this corner. MXN Day, no, the race is on Saturday evening, UK time, 8 p.m. So, as I said, the stream will start at about 7:50 p.m. on Saturday. Qualifying starts at 8 p.m. sharp. So, yeah, no worries, mate. And you will have the choice of 2 different leagues to watch as well. For those who missed it earlier, we have got our League 2 up and running, and they have their first race on Saturday as well at the same time as the League 1 boys. So Ross failed to improve, remains in 3rd position. No, he did improve up to 3rd position. 120.1. So the track is definitely getting faster on these intermediates. But clearly those who have gone out on slicks just cannot get any grip. 23rd Nebula back out on another set of intermediates. We saw he was one of the ones who did try it on the slicks. Adam Woods in the Ferrari. Both Ferraris not looking too shabby, you've got to say. Steve Harris has gone back out again. And the reason as well why a lot of these drivers will be going back out on old, as off goes Adam Woods, but on older tyres or tyres and laps on, they only get 3 or 4 sets of these intermediates for the whole weekend. I mean, it will reset for Saturday, but they won't have the chance to go out on multiple sets of tyres. So that's why you're seeing quite a lot of drivers. We saw Steve do over 30 laps in his first stint on those tyres, seeing how they were. He's a couple of tenths down in the first sector and his best this time around on a brand new set of Inters. Let's see how he does in the middle sector. He's a couple of tenths up this time. So that could be pushing him around Kai Wilde, who sat there in 8th position. He's been in the pits for a long time as Kai. But 121.4 for him. Both Ferraris heading out on track again. Well, one of them was already out, but Andrew Watson is heading out as well onto the racetrack. And Steve Harris does move up into 8th position on a 121.1. Qualifying, another question in the Twitch chat. Qualifying will be before the race, so that we have full qualifying starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday evening. The race will then immediately follow the qualifying. So the qualifying takes around an hour or so, and then we will start the race. There's normally about a 5-minute gap between the end of qualifying and the start of the race, and then it is a 50% race, 36 laps around here. So it's not an easy track, a lot of concentration, some very high speed parts to this racetrack, also some very technical parts as well. Steve Harris is slightly improving on this lap as well, 8th at the moment. Andrew Watson, as I said, has gone out in the Ferrari onto an out lap. His teammate at the moment is in 6th position, a fraction behind 23rd Nebula. And Steve Harris is pitting once again. Let's see how Andrew Watson's getting on. He's 10th at the moment, 121.8. Like I said, brand new driver. Will be racing in League 2 on Saturday. And let's see how he's getting on. First sector, he's only a fraction down. And the Ferrari looking good, riding on board with him here. Not looking too bad, is it? Let's have a look down into this. This is where it's very tricky. Even in the dry, I know some of the drivers are struggling under acceleration there, with it being such a long exit to the corner. Let's see how he's doing in the middle sector. A fraction up, a bit of a lock up into the chicane, but he got the nose of the car in. And comes down into his right hander. Don't run too wide there, it will disallow your lap. Oh, and once he becomes another one. To struggle on the banking, that completely kills his lap time. He's only a fraction off it as well, despite that massive slide. But we're seeing so many drivers struggling on that banking. Kyle Wilde, he spun there earlier, if you remember, and hit 23rd Nebula. So pretty quiet out there on the track at the moment. The sky is looking brighter, but we did hear from Kai earlier on, it is supposed to be raining all the way through this session. But it definitely does look a little bit brighter out there, not as grey as it did before. Molina Coach is out on a lap as well right now, on his out lap. Excuse me, Andrew Watson now coming through these difficult middle parts of the lap. Let's see what his middle sector's time is doing. I think that slide in the last corner will have affected this lap time as well, so I think he's just on a slow down lap. Yeah, he's a couple of seconds off his best, so I think he's probably just trying to save up some ERS, cool the tyres down, because whenever you slide around like that, you really overheat the tyres, and you don't want the tyres too hot, especially the intermediates, as they will just give you zero grip at all. This time, and again, does exactly the same thing on that banking. So it wouldn't at all surprise me to see him abandon that lap as well. Molina Coach, slightly worn set of tyres he's on. Done 5 laps. Seems to have had a problem already, because he's a couple of seconds down in the first sector. Adam Woods, 120.4, a fraction slower than 23rd Nebula. Look how close it is between Ross and Drabby up there as well. Just 5 thousandths of a second between them. Kyle is still comfortably the quickest, but in any wet conditions that I have seen him in, he has been the quickest driver, so I don't think there's a huge surprise. Ross heading back out on track as well. Adam Woods, middle sector. This is his 11th lap on these tyres, so not expecting miracles from him. Yeah, Andrew Watson doing another slow down lap. Winding himself up, trying to get a competitive lap on those tyres. Now, Steve Harris did 31 laps on the set of tyres, 30 laps on his first set of tyres. It looks as if he's actually put those tyres back on, and this time Andrew Watson gets around the last corner as well. And I think that was Steve heading out on track on 31 lap or 30 lap old intermediates. Yeah, Steve's going back out on them, so let's see. I think he might struggle for grip, but of course, if the conditions are improving, because we are seeing drivers struggling with the intermediates. But of course, Steve there, we're seeing, so clearly the intermediates are overheating, but it's still not dry enough for slicks. We've seen people struggling on the slick tyres. So maybe a set of extremely old, worn tyres could be what he needs. Slightly more rubber on the track, but still with enough grooves to clear what water is there. And you see Andrew Watson really struggling. Kyle's gone back out. Lewis and Ross are both out as well. Adam Woods and Molina Coach still on their quite long runs. So, and Andrew Watson doesn't improve. Ross has had his lap disallowed. Let's see how Lewis is doing. And I'm just hearing and reading something that's saying there is problems with some of the Xbox servers tonight. So we've been okay, thank God. Lewis did improve, by the way, did a 1:19.8. We've been okay, touch wood, tonight. But if there is anyone else struggling to join, that will be the reason why. We were supposed to have another new driver, League 2 driver, Josh, joining us as well. So let's see how Lewis is doing. Ross went into the pits. Who else is out there? Let's see how Steve's getting on. Yeah, he's a long way off his best last time round. Let's see how he's doing in the first sector. He's 1.2 seconds down. Maybe not quite the smartest decision, see, to go out on those tyres. You've got to say, though, again, 30-second lap on these tyres. And he's not exactly flying off the racetrack, is he? So he's clearly still got some good grip on them. Might not be the ultimate quickest. He's done a 1:24.5, quite a long way off his best. With much lower fuel, of course. And much newer tyres. Let's see how Kyle's getting on. A 10th and a bit down in the first sector. And he is a fraction up in the middle sector on his current best lap. Someone has got under a second. Lewis has got under a second clear of Kyle, but Kyle might be about to increase that to back over a second. Did not improve, unfortunately. So let's see who else is out there. Melina Coach still out there at the moment. Andrew Watson back out again. So 19 minutes to go in this session. Melina Coach, I don't remember when last time I was swearing so much. Sorry, mate, I do. It was the other day when we were in a 5-lappers with some randoms. But anyway, 19 minutes of the session to go. Molina Coach is, you can see there, just fighting the car. So it does look as if the intermediates are overheating, but we've seen people attempt slicks and it just didn't work at all. Steve Harris still going on his extremely old tyres. We saw him do a 30-lap run at the start of the session, and now he's still out there. He did a couple of runs on newer tyres, and now he's gone back out on the old tyres, and he's on a 123.2. That's not too bad. So Lewis has gone back out as well in the racing points. Second at the moment, and the only other man under the 1:20 barrier. And the only one within a second of Kyle Mabon out front. But these tyres he's gone out on this time have already done 7 laps, so they're not the freshest. Ross has just fitted a brand new set of intermediates. So I don't think it'll be too long before he'll be going out. Same as 23rd Nebula as well. Adam Woods has gone back out on a slightly worn set. Molina Coach pits. He's 7th at the moment, so I still think he'll be quite happy with that. Quicker than Steve and Kai at the moment. I think that will definitely please him. Let's see how Lewis does on this run. Through the hairpin into this flat out section. It is still flat out in these conditions, but you're just on the edge a little bit more. You know, the slightest slip and you will be around in the circle. And he's found nearly 0.2 of a second in the first sector. And Molina Coach, he's saying yes, he's pleased, but he knows he can do better. So let's see how Lewis can do as he comes around the last couple of corners. And as he comes across the line on 1:19.6. So he closes the gap to Kyle down a little bit more. And that was on quite worn tyres as well. So Ross on those brand new set of tyres is back out on track again. 3rd quickest at the moment. And can he get himself under that 1:20 barrier? Which seems to be a magical figure tonight. Not many drivers have hit it. Oh, and Ross with a big slide coming out of the hairpin. As I said, brand new tyres, so they don't always give the ultimate grip, brand new tyres. And the Ferrari has gone off. That's Andrew Watson. There he is. He spun it. Coming out of the hairpin at the beginning of the lap. Again, the banking on that corner will not help it. And there is Steve still on his very, very old tyres. Ross is coming up behind him. He's lost a few tenths, I think, behind Steve. Steve's tyres. They're on their 37th lap. Is Steve pitting or was he getting out of the way there? But Ross comes through the last corner doesn't improve. I think he lost quite a lot of time behind Steve. Here is Steve. Look how bald that left front is. Really, really struggling now on those tyres. But still out there. This is lap number 38 on the side. Let's see if Ross can improve this time on his lap time. I know he caught Steve at an unfortunate part of the track, really. And look at the understeer on the way in there, and then the oversteer as he tried to put the power down. He's gone slightly quicker in the first section than even the last lap. He was over a tenth quicker this time. So he does in the middle. He's a tenth and a half up. So good lap so far here from Ross. Can he get himself anywhere near Lewis at the moment in second, a 1:19.6. Adam Woods back out on track as well. Brand new set of intermediates for him as well. Look at that, not quite full throttle through the last corner. But he comes across the line on a 1:20.0. Not quite able to get under 1 minute 9 in under the 1 minute 19 barrier. Steve is still going on his tyres. Molina Coach back out on another set of slightly used rubber. Adam Woods, let's see how the Ferrari's handling. Riding on board with him at the moment. Can he get himself up? He's in 6th position at the moment, a fraction behind 23rd Nebula. Can he improve his lap time? And as I was saying earlier, it's a long first sector really, when even in the wet, the lap times are only 1 minute 18 seconds. In the dry, we could be looking at 1 minute 10 to 1 minute 9s in qualifying, but it's at least half a minute first sector. It's a long first sector in relation to the track. It's coming up here. Fraction down in the first sector. Just clipped a little bit of curb. He is just hitting the curbs nicely. Normally you try and give him a little bit of space in these conditions. Certainly this one he'll avoid, it being a raised curb. Flat curbs aren't so bad, and the same on the exit there. Slightly serrated exit curb there, so you try and avoid that as much as possible. But then you really commit over that curb there. Short little back straight before the second to last corner, and I think that's Molina Coach off again. As Adam Woods comes across the line, can he improve on his current lap time? He does, a 1:20.1. It lifts him into 5th position. And again, we're seeing it once again. Look how close it is there in those midfield battles. Still only a couple of seconds covering second to 10th place. Kaiser further second clear out front. So Andrew Watson now on a quick lap. Slightly worn tyres. But he's out on a quick lap right now. He is 10th at the moment, 1:21.6. Not that far off the pace. Really, I need to find a couple of tenths to move up a position. Steve is still going on what is now the 40th lap on that set of tyres. Oh, Andrew Watson off the track. Again, that early part of the lap was exactly where I was talking about. So easy done in these conditions. Adam Woods coming through. He's a quarter of a second up in the middle sector on his best. Can he get into the 1:19s? Yes, he can. A 1:19.8. Finally, we have a third driver under the 1 minute 20 barrier. And it's Adam Woods in the Ferrari. Somehow Steve's still hanging on to this car. He's nearly 4 seconds a lap though off his best. I don't think this would be the quickest way in the race, but you never know. Saving time with the pit stop. We've got 9 minutes to go now. Lewis heading back out again. Let's run on board with the Racing Point this time. Lewis, second quickest at the moment. Can he just chip away at that gap to Kyle a little bit more? Let's have a look how he's going to get on in the first sector. Long right hand up. Got very close to the white line, but did avoid it nicely. And he's a fraction down in the first sector. I think I have been joined by Steve Harris.
You have. Could you possibly do me a favour? Because the other people at the party aren't helping me out. How long have I got on these tyres?
You're on your 42nd lap, Steve.
Perfect, thank you.
No worries, mate. How are they feeling, that old?
They're a bit slidey. Not as quick, but I know that they can do 42 laps. So it does mean that if it's wet, that's it. It's going to be a no-stopper. Yeah, I'm only about a second or two off of the PB, so yeah, can't really complain.
Excellent. Well, I'll let you get back on with your practice, Steve, and hope you have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, I'll try, thank you.
No worries. So 23rd Nebula out on track now as well. 7.5 minutes to go. Brand new set of intermediates for him. 120.4. He was up in third place earlier on. Other people have improved. But I can't help feeling that some of the drivers out there tonight are sandbagging. We're seeing people go quite a lot quicker at certain parts of the lap, and then they're diving into the pits at the end of the lap. So I think there is still a few drivers out there not gone as quick as they can go. Ross has headed out on track. We're riding on board with 23rd Nebula in the Red Bull. Can he improve on his current 6th position, a 120.437? And I know Simon does like driving in the wet conditions. Quite smooth, as you can see with his steering wheel inputs. He's quite smooth. And from what I'm hearing with his throttle input as well, it's quite smooth as well. So that's the last thing you want to do, is spin your rear tyres up. And he's a fraction down on his best in the first sector, less than half a tenth off. Let's see what he can do in the middle sector of the lap. He comes down the back straight. As I said, that will be where the DRS is if we have a dry qualifying or race. And he's about half a second down, so not the best lap here for Simon. That Ross is just behind him in the Renault. And quite interesting what Steve said there as well, if you could hear him on the stream, that if it is an intermediate race on Saturday, he will be trying to go for a non-stop race. So that's very interesting there. But that's what this practice session is all about. Get out there, see how long you can make the tyres last, and try and remember that information in preparation for the race. I mean, he is lapping about 3 or 4 seconds a lap slower at the moment. He's on to his 44th lap on those tyres. Subs UK has left the pits, first time in a while. We've got just under 5 minutes to go now of this session, and we are going to see the last flurry of activity now out on the racetrack. People trying to improve their position. Will we see Steve come in and put on a brand new set of tyres and see what he can do right at the end of the session? Can Kyle Maybon improve his lap time? 1:18.9, far and away the quickest driver out there this evening. As he comes out of the hairpin, short shifting there out of the hairpin to cut the wheel spin and improve his traction. Good turn in there. car looking pretty good, or a little bit wide on the exit, and that spat him round. He had done quite a good first sector as well. Molina Coach has gone out on quite worn intermediates. Andrew Watson is a fraction up on his best. He's also on 10 lap old intermediates now. So Steve done 43 laps on these tyres. And interesting point there from Kai on the chat as Andrew Watson improves up to 9th place on 21.3. He's saying that the non-stop wouldn't work because this practice session is the tyre wear is based on an 100% distance. So Steve's done 43 laps on those tyres in a 50% race. Of course, the tyre life is doubled, so it's just depending on how worn the tyres were after about 36 laps, will give him the indication. If he doubles it, we'll see if it will last to the end. You never know, some careful driving, looking after the car, it could be possible. 2.5 minutes to go. Subs UK's started a lap. A little bit off the back of the field, but he hasn't done that many laps this evening from what I've seen. There you can see he's only done 4 laps, and he's got quicker every time. So, and he's quite a lot down in the first sector. So, as I said, last flurry of activity, Steve Harris has gone out on a not brand new set. The tyres have done a little bit of work as Subs UK let Steve nicely out the way. Also heading out is Drab. We haven't seen him out on track for a while. The last time he was out, he tried the slicks and it just didn't work. So he's going out for these last few laps. Lewis is still out there, but not really improving, and he won't have time to come in and put on another set of tyres. Because he could be saving everything up for this last lap. Carl Maybon, he's going to struggle to get around to start his lap on time. Molina Coach a fraction down on his best. Can he improve? 120.8 at the moment for him. As we enter the last minute of practice. And he doesn't improve. Remains on a 120.8 as his best lap. One more chance. Let's see how Steve Harris is doing through the middle part of first sector of the lap. He's a fraction up on his best. So we're talking about people getting under the 120 mark. Can Steve get under the 121 mark? But still very, very close between all the drivers, especially in the midfield. Let's see how Steve is in the middle sector. Almost a tenth and a half up. And Kyle just got his lap in. Just started his lap with 10 seconds to go. In Subs UK. Slowing right down. That's the end of his practice. He didn't improve in the end. The checkered flag is now out. Steve Harris goes across the line. Sideways. And in the end, he didn't improve. A 121.1 right at the end. Let's count off the rest of the drivers coming through. Here is Lewis coming through to complete his lap. He's not going to improve. He's getting out of the way. Drabby's had his lap disallowed. What would it have been? It would have been a 119.8. There is still a little bit of pace to be found. Molina Coach didn't improve either. He ends the session in 7th place on a 120.8. Let's see what Kyle's doing. He is a tenth and a half up on his last lap. Can he complete this lap and go even quicker? He's been a second clear of the field for the majority of qualifying, majority of practice, sorry. Lewis has cut that down. Can Kyle get that back in? 1:18.8, he does improve to end the session quickest. Lewis in second, Adam Woods in third. Don't forget, first ever session for him in this league, so good result for him. Ross in fourth in the second Renault. Drab in fifth, sixth for 23rd Nebula. Molina Coach finished in seventh position. And I think some of the drivers are going to be doing a 3-lap race after this. Let's wait to see. Steve Harris finished in 8th. Andrew Watson, also his first session. He starts in 9th. Doesn't start, but he finished 9th in practice. 10th for Kai Wildy. White African only did a few laps right at the beginning of the session. He ends up 11th, and Subs UK in 12th position. Now, I'm not sure how many drivers are going to stay for what will be a 3-lap sprint around this racetrack. And it is going to be a dry 3-lap race. So here we go. Drivers readying up. I think a lot of them have stayed. So let's see what happens. 3-lap race, as I said, it's not going to take very long. But it will be the only dry running that they're having in this practice session. Adam Woods better be dry. It is, mate. So here we go. Lights out. Away we go. Good start for Adam Woods. He goes straight into the lead. For some reason, it's jumbled the pack up. So it's Adam Woods started on pole, and he leads away. Carl Maybon is right behind him. 23rd Nebula is third. Lewis is fourth. Kai is fifth. We've got Drab and Andrew Watson fighting hard for 6th position. Now Kai, now they're attacking Kai as well. Kai just about gives the space. And Drabby, what a run he had out of the hairpin to go around the outside of Kai. Well, they said they can't overtake. We've seen some great overtakes already, and here comes Andrew Watson up the inside of Kai as well, and that's a great move. That was brave, but here comes Molina Coach getting involved as well. And now Ross as well. And there still will do a bit of contact there between Andrew Watson and Molina Coach. Kai's dropped back a little bit there behind those two. Subs UK is 10th. Steve's dropped to the back of the field. And look at Ross out the inside of Andrew Watson. Just about saw him coming right at the last minute. But Carl Maybon has taken the lead from Adam Woods. And look at this fight for third. 23rd Nebula, Lewis and Drab. Drab's got a great run out of the banking in the last corner, and he's going to go through past Lewis. Championship rivals, don't forget, for the race on Saturday. Just a bit of fun here for this 3-lap race. The only bit of dry running they're getting here in this evening's practice session. Carl Maybon, though, seems to have made a mistake somewhere. He's dropped back a little bit, right back into the clutches of Adam Woods. Oh, and Adam's gone off. He's run a little bit wide. I just saw him have a twitch in the middle of the corner. And he's gone off. And Adam Woods spins. And he was running up in second. And that is going to drop him right down the field. And in fact, Adam Woods has dropped practically to the back. There's Steve Harris. And Drab's now got past 23rd Nebula. 23rd Nebula's fighting back. Brilliant racing between those two. Round the outside goes Drabby. Now Lewis has pounced as well. 23rd Nebula on his back foot. Here comes Molina Coach. He's having a great practice race here. Up into 4th place now. So Carl Maybon leads by nearly 4 seconds. Here comes 23rd Nebula. We're going to have 1 lap of DRS. We're on to the last lap of the race. 23rd Nebula down the inside of Molina Coach. Molina Coach is hanging on around the outside, refusing to yield. Well, we heard from Ross earlier saying you can't overtake round here. We've seen some great overtaking manoeuvres already. Adam Woods has fallen right to the back now. Clearly struggled with the grip. Subs UK up in 9th. Ahead of White African. He'll be delighted with that, I think, their subs. Clearly a lot more comfortable around here on the slicks than he was on the intermediates. So Kyle Maybon, well, no real surprise. He really did have the pace we saw in practice, and he's shown he's got some good pace in the dry as well. He's going to come through to win this practice race in preparation for Saturday's Grand Prix. Carl Maybon crosses the line to win the preliminary race. There's a 1:10.8 right at the end. Drabby comes through to take second. Lewis will finish third. Molina Coach is 4th. 23rd Nebula 5th. Ross 6th. Andrew Watson in 7th. Here comes Kai Wildy in 8th place. And unlucky for subs, he has got a penalty, which is going to drop him behind White African, but he remains. Oh, and Steve crashes as he goes across the line. Well, Steve's becoming a master of going across the line backwards. But anyway, Adam Woods comes through. And I think, if I saw that right, Adam Woods might have just snatched the fastest lap on the last lap of the race. So that'll be quite a good indication for the League 2 race on Sunday if he did. On Saturday, sorry, if he did that. So let's have a look for confirmation of the result. As I said, only a 3-lap race. But good for the drivers that they got a bit of dry running in. And he did indeed. Alan Woods snatched fastest lap right at the end of 1:10.6. So that's a great indication for him as well. Struggled a little bit on the wet track, as a lot of drivers did this evening. But on the dry track, also looking very, very fast. But Carl Maybon wins from Drabby in 2nd, Lewis 3rd. The top 3 in the championship, top 3 in practice, and top 3 here in the practice race. Molina Coach, I think, will be pleased with that in 4th. 23rd Nebula 5th. Ross in 6th. Andrew Watson 7th. Kai Wildy 8th. White African 9th. Subs UK, I think he'll be pleased as well with 10th place. 11th for Steve Harris. He lost out on the first lap. And we saw Adam Woods was right up there at the start, hanging on to Kyle, but ended up spinning out. And that would have been a great fight to the end, I think, if he hadn't spun, because clearly he had the pace to keep up with him. And that's it. Thank you to everyone who has joined me tonight for this race and practice session. Don't forget, the stream will start on Saturday UK time at around 7:50. As I said, that is UK time. Qualifying starts at 8 PM sharp. 3-part qualifying session. The race normally starts at around 9:30. 50% race, 36 laps around here. Promises to be a cracker. There will be a choice of races to watch from the Ultimate Racing League as well this weekend, with the League 2 starting up as well. Please join us for that. You'll have myself on commentary for the League 1. You'll have Ben Hazelwood in the comms box for League 2 this week. But thank you for joining us tonight. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching that practice session. I hope you all have too. And we'll see you on Saturday